Hi there. In this video, we want to talk about how long it takes to write a grant funding application. People ask me that, and I have an answer for you today. How long should it take, or how long can it take to write a grant funding application? Let's get straight into it. Well, in my experience and estimation, I would suggest to you that it can take anything from 2 days to 1 whole month to write a grant funding application. How do I know that? Well, because of the variables involved in actually getting to the place where you can put together a grant funding application. Somebody says, like what? Well, there are times when the grant funding requires you to answer so many questions. So the application itself, it's so complex that you need to have a lot of answers, and those answers are only going to come from research. So let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. Let's say you want to apply for between £5,000 and £15,000 or £20,000. Well, generally speaking, those types of applications are small in size of questions, and the questions are relatively more straightforward and doesn't require too much research. So if you really focus and you put on your thinking hat, you may be able to write that application in 2 days. However, when you're making an application for upwards of £50,000, trust me, generally speaking, it's going to require a lot more research, a lot more input. Sometimes it could require some interviews with people. That has thrown in another variable right there, because if you're interviewing people and somebody doesn't show up, or they show up, they're not prepared, and you have to go back and re-interview them, then that's going to add more time to it. But in my estimation, the actual time it could take, let me say one more thing, because if you are writing an application and you have to go through different phases of the process, sometimes the funder would come to you and say, well, all you need to do is answer these few questions and you go to phase 2. Okay, so you pass phase 2, then they say, well, there's another one, phase 3, and there's another phase 4. So if that being the case, the questions they ask are going to be much more in-depth. As the phases go on, that's going to require you to actually spend a considerable amount of time to put together the application. Sometimes large applications will actually require you to have a business plan. So that's going to take time. You know, it could even be more than a month to put together the application. But the actual thinking and writing time, that's generally about a month in terms of the concentrated time. But that month can spread over a few months, if you understand what I mean. So if you watch my video on how long does it take from application to money in the bank, then it would help you to understand it a little bit more as well. But when you're thinking about writing your application, think about it in this way, that it could take, for a small application, 2 days, and for longer application, it could take a few months, or at least 1 month to put together your application. All right. If you like this video, then do like it. If you like it, do share it. And if you like it, do subscribe to the channel, because we're going to come back with more videos as we answer your questions on grant funding. See you soon.